Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Monster channel. This is Monster from Sydney, and in this episode we're going to take a closer look at the Zeus Mark II, which was announced at the recent CitizenCon. Welcome back, guys. The Zeus Mark II was announced at CitizenCon. It's a ship that's in concept at the moment. They kind of said tentatively that it'll be out in 1 year's time, so don't get too excited yet. But let's have a deep dive, or a semi-deep dive, into what the ship is, what its variants look like, and also we're going to compare it to some other ships in its class. But why is it called the Zeus Mark II? Because there was a Mark I, and that is this beauty that's on the screen at the moment. The Mark I is one of RSI's very first ships that I think used a quantum drive, I believe. RSI is is the oldest ship manufacturer today in the verse, and I think they invented the quantum drive. In fact, I did a whole lore section on Robert Space Industries in another one of my videos. Go check it out. But as you can see, this little beauty is like an evolution of our space shuttle, right? So it's got that delta triangular shape, which I love. It's got the sharp pointy nose. It's got that white and black kind of tiles that the space shuttle uses. It's got its wingtips that are raised and these kind of straight lines that go up and down the fuselage, which is kind of like the early design fingerprints that RSI starts to use more and more. So let's fast forward to today. This was the inspiration for the Mark II. So here is the Mark II, and like everything else RSI, it's just angles, engineering porn. In a Drake ship, on the inside of a Drake ship is kind of like engineering porn in regards to the wires and pipes and this, that, and the other. On the outside, when it comes to RSI ships, it's engineering porn. They love their angles, they love their straight lines, and here we can see huge amounts of both. But yet you can still see the similarities to Zeus Mark I. You can see that delta triangular shape, you can see the wingtips that are raised, and that the two engines, or the two sections going out the back there. You can also see this sort of what's becoming a traditional RSI cockpit, like a wedge shaped cockpit, which I actually like. And you can see the two size 4 weapons tucked in under the cockpit, which is nice. It means they probably won't get blown off. And yeah, there are 3 variants. There's the exploration variant, there's the military variant, and also the cargo variant. So let's have a deep dive into, before we do this, I don't know, it's the quantum dampener here. This, like, the way that the electricity is like flowing down the rear end of this ship looks amazing on the MR. So the ES is the exploration, E for exploration, that's how I remember it anyway. MR is military, and CL is the cargo variant. Let's have a look at the exploration variant first, shall we? So its role as an explorer, they all have a crew of 3, all 3 variants, and they're all exactly the same dimensions as you would expect. They're variants of each other. So 46 meters long, 34 meters wide, and 8 meters high. This exploration model has got 3 suit lockers for the 3 crew members, so they can go out and explore space, which is pretty cool. And it's got a handy 32 SKU of cargo. It's not enormous, but it's a handy 32 SKU of cargo, which is nice. The pilot has 2 size 4 weapons that we saw in the picture above. It's definitely not fearsome firepower at all. The Talon has got 2 size 4 weapons, and that's a light fighter that's known for not doing that much damage at all. So it's on the lower end of a weak light fighter, the 2 size 4 weapons. It's got 2 size 4 missile racks, custom missile racks, which is pretty good. And it's got 1 size 3 remote turret, which you can see at the bottom. I wish CIG would put the turrets on the top. I don't know why we have to have 1 turret always on the bottom of the ship. I prefer it to be on the top. It's just slightly less disorientating for the guy that's in the turret. And I just think it's slightly easier in combat as well to have the guy on top when you're a pilot trying to get a shot for your turretman instead of being on the bottom. That's just me. Let me know what you guys think. Component wise, it's got a size 3. I think this is a medium ship, guys. So the Zeus is a medium ship. You're talking mainly about size 2 components, but because this is an exploration ship, and look, the exploration mechanic hasn't been fleshed out. We don't really have a great idea of what it's going to look or feel like. We do know that it has to do with scanning power. It has to do with radar and detection and maybe internal storage, internal comfort, things like that, right? So the fact that it's got a size 3 radar is a good thing, and it's got a size 3 fuel tank, which is a good thing, instead of size 2s. And it's got 4 size 2 shields, which is quite impressive, I think. It gives you redundancy when you're getting attacked, I suppose, so you don't have all your eggs in one basket when it comes to a shield. So it'll be interesting to see. For me, an exploration ship should be pretty comfortable. Excuse me. Should be quite comfortable. I know that's neither here, neither there, but when it comes to role-playing and exploration, most of it's going to be a little bit of role-playing. You want a degree of comfort within the ship. I would prefer to have a few different windows and viewing areas so that crew can sit down when they're not manning the turrets and stuff and ponder out and look out onto space, right? So that's why I think the 600i and Origin do a good job of bringing those views into the ship through different windows and stuff, but we'll see. So that's the ES. Not too bad, I suppose, for exploration. And this is the MR, which is a bounty hunter / interdiction ship. It's a crew of 3. It's got the same dimensions. It's got a small amount of cargo space, 16 SKU, which is better than nothing, I suppose. And the black paint, it looks awesome. It just looks like Batman's ship. It's so cool. It's got a prisoner pod as well, so you can lock people up in the back of your ship. It doesn't really say how many. It might just be 1. I'm not sure. It's got an armory, so you can put your weapons on display and put your weapons out so people can easily access weapons. It's got an EMP to wreck shields, and it's got a quantum dampener to not allow people to get away from you, which is pretty cool. Weapon wise, it's still got those 2 size 4 fixed weapons, which I think is a little bit underpowered. Look, you do get an extra turret, so now you got a turret on top with the MR and a turret on the bottom, which is great. But I would have probably liked to see 1 more weapon, even if it was a size 3 weapon, on the nose, just for the pilot. That would have made it really, really attractive. But nonetheless, you got another turret, so you got 2 turrets, which is still better than nothing. 2 size 3 turrets. When it comes to components, it's got size 2 radar as opposed to size 3 that the exploration ship has, and it's got a size 2 fuel tank as opposed to the size 3 that the exploration model has. And in fact, it has less shields than the exploration model. It's got 3 size 2 shields, which again is not bad, but the ES is a lot more tankier than the MR. Moving on to the cargo model, again, it's a medium freight, crew of 3. It's got the same dimensions as the other 2 variants, and it's got a pretty healthy 128 SKU of cargo. We're going to look at the comparisons shortly. It's got a size 2 Tractor beam turret, which is nice. It's literally got the same weaponry as the ES, or the exploration model, which is 2 size 4s pointing forward and 1 turret underneath, and your 2 size 4 missile racks. Its components are the same as the military version, which is the MR, which is a size 2 radar, size 2 fuel tank, and 3 size 2 shields, as opposed to the 4 size 2 shields that the exploration model has. So component wise, it's on par with the military version, which is not too bad. And yeah, there are the stats. So let's have a look at a quick comparison of where the Zeus kind of stacks up in regards to some peers. Now look, I might have missed out some ships here, guys. Before I continue, this is Star Jump Ship Viewer at hangar.link. Hangar.link. It's one of the best ship viewers, I think, personally. Big shout out to the Star Jump team. I love using this tool. They've even added like spaceports and all sorts of good stuff. So let's have a look at the cargo variant, the CL. So I've kind of just got some medium freight ships, put them from the lowest amount of SKU to the highest, and you can see that the Zeus is here kind of third on my list anyway. And generally speaking, as the ship gets longer and longer, apart from one major exception, there's more SKU available. It's a general principle, but you can see the hull A here is kicking ass with 64 SKU, and it's a tiny little ship. But we all know that the hulls are dense little ships, so that's pretty cool. So we got the Cutlass at 48 SKU, we got the Argo Cargo, which is actually 1.5 meters longer than the Max, but it's got much less SKU than the Max. At 96 SKU, it's probably a lot less wider. Then you got the Max at 122 SKU. Then you've got the Zeus at 128. It's kind of in that Max bracket, Freelancer Max bracket, except to me it looks a lot cooler. And yeah, definitely if I was on the market for a Freelancer Max or a Zeus, just for the cool factor, I'd be going for the Zeus, and it does have that little bit more cargo. And then we've got the Taurus at 168 SKU, and we've got the Raylan, which is technically not a long ship. It's only 58 meters, but it's very wide and tall at a massive 320 SKU. So I just wanted you guys to get a perspective of where the ship sits. It's solid. It's a solid, I think, for its size, for its looks, it's a solid medium cargo ship. So that's the CS or CL, and now let's have a look at the exploration side of things. Again, I've kind of put most of the medium and kind of large exploration ships in just according to their size. You can see the Zeus Mark II all the way down the bottom here. So it's at 46 meters. So there's not much I can sort of compare apart from ship component sizes. But it's on the smaller end of the exploration ships, even though it's medium. All of these other ships here are, these ones anyway, are medium exploration ships. You can see the size of the 600i is significantly bigger. And then you've got the Carrack and the Odyssey, which is a real deep space explorer. Same with the Carrack. But yeah, nothing much to add here. I don't want to speculate very much. I just wanted to kind of include that, you know, it's kind of on the smaller end of town, if you like, in its class for exploration. So you would expect some less room, and its ship component size are size 3, and you could, like, you know, obviously compare the firepower. It's like nowhere near the Corsair, which is a crazy amount of firepower for an exploration ship. It's kind of that, I think, that 400i type of firepower. So yeah, its firepower kind of leaves it lacking a little bit in this class in my eyes. And for me, again, if it's an exploration ship, apart from the ship component powers, how comfortable is it? How livable is it on the inside? And I know that's an emotional statement, but you know, exploration is kind of an emotional thing. Moving on to the MR. Now I've kind of got all the ships that have EMPs or quantum dampeners and stuff, and put them in the list, and you can see that the MR's on the larger side of the scale as opposed to the exploration thing. The Cutlass Blue with its fearsome firepower, its large amount of missiles, is probably still the strongest in the class, I think. But the MR is slightly bigger. It looks a lot cooler than the Cutlass, which is not something that I've said before, actually, because I always used to think the Cutlass looks cool. But these new RSI designs, man, they're looking sexy. But here you can see, obviously, these two, the Hawk and the Warlock and the Mantis, are not medium ships. They're small, but I've just put them there so you can see the sense of scale. But the Sentinel, the Cutlass Blue, and the MR are medium ships. You can see that the MR is bigger. It has a prison. It's more on par with the Blue. These two will be up, you know, sort of closely compared to each other, I think. And then you've got the formidable Sentinel as well. So yeah, guys, that's kind of where the ship sort of sits amongst its peers. And let's have a look at how much these babies cost. So if you're a concierge, you get this special skin, the Solstice skin, which is this kind of black and grey with this gold trims, which is quite sexy. And it's $148 for the ES and the CL, and the MR is more expensive at $187 US. And that's the same, and that's War Bond. So War Bond without the skin is the same price. So the concierge people, they get that skin sort of for free in a way. But for anyone else that wants the War Bond, it's $148 for the ES and the CL. And if you want the military version, it's $187. If you've got credit, it's $160. It's always a little bit more expensive when you want to use in-house credit. It's $165 for the CL and the ES, and a whopping $209 for the MR, guys. So I think that's kind of Cutlassy type price range, a bit more expensive. I'm not sure. I haven't compared the prices, so I could be wrong. But yeah, I just wanted to give you an idea. Guys, I haven't got one of these yet. I don't want to buy concepts. That's a rule that I have. But man, I just love the way these ships look. I don't think it's got overwhelming firepower. That's its main downside. I'll probably go for the MR at some point. I just don't know what ship I'm going to melt to get the MR. Only because I don't have an EMP ship in my collection. And this looks like the sexiest EMP ship. The Cutlass Blue might be better. But this is definitely the sexiest. And so, yeah, I might be working my way towards an MR. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, bye for now.